Hey Vikings fans, what's going on? Buckle up, because with Super Bowl 60 locked in, the NFL world doesn't slow down for a second. That means draft season is officially creeping up on us, and the Minnesota Vikings are already right in the middle of the conversation. Holding the 18th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, Minnesota is once again a hot topic across mock drafts. Analysts, insiders, and draft gurus are all throwing names on the board, and some of them might surprise you. Today, we're diving deep into what the experts are projecting, why the Vikings are being linked to certain positions, and how history tells us this pick could become something special. Stay with me because this story gets better the deeper we go. The external consensus heading into the 2026 draft is pretty clear. The Vikings could use help in the secondary. Cornerback and safety are at the top of most mock drafts tied to Minnesota, and honestly, that makes a lot of sense. Despite aggressive moves in recent free agency periods, the depth behind key starters remains a concern. Minnesota finished the season with just 8 interceptions, tied for one of the lowest totals in the league, and Brian Flores' defense thrives on turnovers. Add to that the need to reinforce the interior defensive line, and suddenly you see why so many mocks lean defense-heavy when projecting the Vikings at number 18. But here's where things get spicy. Not everyone thinks defense is the only answer. Some analysts see Minnesota as a sneaky destination for a game-changing offensive weapon. A running back or wide receiver could absolutely be in play, especially with contract questions looming. Jalen Nailor is set to hit free agency, and Jordan Addison is approaching a pivotal contract window. That uncertainty opens the door for bold moves, and the Vikings have never been afraid to swing big when the value is right. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a step back. Predicting the draft this far out is always risky. Trades, injuries, and surprise risers will shake everything up between now and April in Pittsburgh. So instead of pretending we know exactly what Minnesota will do, let's look at history. Specifically, what kind of players usually come off the board around pick number 18. Because if history tells us anything, it's that this range can produce absolute stars. Just look at the recent track record of the 18th overall pick. In 2025, Seattle selected offensive lineman Gray Zabel. In 2024, Cincinnati went with Amarius Mims, another trench warrior. Detroit grabbed linebacker Jack Campbell in 2023. Tennessee took Treylon Burks in 2022. And Miami found gold with Jaylon Phillips back in 2021. And let's not forget Minnesota's own history. In 2019, the Vikings selected Garrett Bradbury at number 18, a player who made 88 starts over 6 seasons and is now set to start at center for New England in the upcoming Super Bowl. Even earlier, this draft neighborhood has been incredibly kind to the Vikings franchise. We're talking about legends and long-term contributors who helped shape team identity. Alan Page went 15th in 1967. Randall McDaniel was picked 19th in 1988. Chad Greenway came in at 17th in 2006, and Joey Browner at 19th in 1983. And of course, 2 of the most iconic wide receivers in NFL history, Randy Moss and Justin Jefferson, were drafted right in this same range. That's why pick number 18 shouldn't scare anyone. This is prime territory for landing a cornerstone player if the Vikings get it right. And now, let's get into the names that draft experts are floating as potential Minnesota Vikings fits in this first wave of mock drafts. We start with Jermud McCoy, cornerback out of Tennessee. CBS Sports' Blake Brockermeyer has him pegged to Minnesota at number 18, despite McCoy not playing in 2025 due to injury. The reasoning is simple. This is a thin year for elite corners, and McCoy has traits you can't teach. Length, smooth footwork, man coverage ability, and elite hands. If he returns fully healthy, McCoy could be a high-upside swing that pays off big in Brian Flores' system. Another popular name is Brandon Cisse, the South Carolina cornerback getting serious love from multiple outlets. Walter Football's Charlie Campbell sees him as a plug-and-play starter. Cisse posted 27 tackles, an interception, 5 pass breakups, and a forced fumble in 2025, backing it up with strong production the year before. At 6 foot and 190 pounds with speed and athleticism, he checks a lot of boxes for what Minnesota looks for on the outside. Then there's Avion Terrell from Clemson, projected by multiple analysts including CBS Sports and Pro Football Focus. Yes, he's the younger brother of A.J. Terrell, and yes, the Bloodlines show. Terrell has been a turnover machine, piling up interceptions and forced fumbles over 3 seasons. That kind of ball production is exactly what the Vikings defense has been missing. Despite being slightly undersized, his coverage instincts and run support make him a strong candidate to be one of the first corners off the board. Now let's flip to offense, because one mock really caught people's attention. Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame, is being linked to Minnesota by the Draft Network. Why? Because the running back room could look very different very soon. Aaron Jones could become a cap casualty, and Jordan Mason has just 1 year left on his deal. Love is explosive, powerful, and dynamic. If he's available at 18, some believe he'd be simply too good to pass up. Wide receiver is another position that keeps popping up. Fox Sports projects Jordan Tyson from Arizona State to the Vikings, and that would be a headline-grabbing move. Tyson has elite size at 6'2", 200 pounds, and ridiculous production. 136 catches, 1,812 yards, and 18 touchdowns over 2 seasons. With Jordan Addison nearing a major contract moment, adding another high-end receiver to pair with Justin Jefferson could future-proof the offense. Another wideout name to watch is Denzel Boston from Washington, projected by Sporting News. He brings size, physicality, and toughness over the middle. Boston could command attention from defenses and create more space for Jefferson on the outside, something the Vikings offense would absolutely welcome. Now back to defense, because Daniel Jeremiah has Minnesota selecting safety Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo. This projection comes with a big storyline: Harrison Smith's future. If the veteran safety decides to retire, the Vikings will need a long-term answer. McNeil-Warren's size, explosiveness, and playmaking instincts could make him a seamless transition piece in the secondary. Mel Kiper Jr. throws another corner into the mix with LSU's Mansour Delane. His ball skills and coverage technique stand out immediately. Over the past 2 seasons, Delane has 6 interceptions and 18 pass breakups, production that would instantly upgrade Minnesota's defensive backfield. Brian Flores loves aggressive, instinctive defenders, and Delane fits that mold perfectly. Finally, let's talk trenches. Yahoo Sports and Pro Football Focus both have Minnesota adding interior defensive linemen like Amory Washington and Caden McDonald. Washington brings power, run-stopping ability, and backfield disruption, while McDonald led all interior defenders in run defense grade and run stops in 2025. Pair either of them with Jalen Redmond, and suddenly the Vikings' defensive front looks terrifying for years to come. So what does all this tell us? Simple. The Minnesota Vikings are in a fantastic position heading into the 2026 NFL Draft. Defense, offense, best player available, the flexibility is real, and history says this pick can change everything. Now I want to hear from you. Should the Vikings go cornerback, wide receiver, running back, or defensive line at number 18? Drop your take in the comments, smash that like button, subscribe for more Minnesota Vikings news, and share this with every Vikings fan you know. Skol. Purple heart, yellow heart.